Hey, it's Patti Scharf, CPA and co-founder of Catching Clouds, the leader in e-commerce accounting. Today we're going to talk about commingling funds. So we're going to be talking about how we see this all the time with serial entrepreneurs. They have, let's say, 3 different businesses or even 2. They've got 2 businesses and sometimes they use this company's accounts to pay for this company's stuff or vice versa. And it just becomes kind of a jumbled mess. Or maybe you are starting out as a sole proprietor and you're using your personal credit cards to pay for your business transactions, but you're also using the same card to pay for your personal stuff. So this is what the video is going to be talking about. We're going to talk about why you should not do that, and then how to fix that in your accounting. So let's get started. So why shouldn't you use one account to pay for 2 different entities' stuff that's going on? And the reason is, first and foremost, if you have a separate business, let's say you set up a limited liability company because you want that liability protection, you are jeopardizing the liability protection. You might want to talk to your attorney to get more information about that. I'm not offering legal advice because I'm not an attorney, but I can tell you the IRS in particular does not like it when you are using your business account to directly pay for your haircuts and your meals out for you personally or your groceries or whatever. They think if you have a separate entity, you have to treat it as a separate entity and let it pay for its own stuff. So set up a business bank account and use that just for your other company. Another reason, you're making it so much harder than it needs to be. When you've got one account that has both business and personal transactions in it, then you have to go through and comb through and find out, okay, this is for this and this is for that. And it just makes it really confusing, especially if you're using an accountant. If you're using an accountant, you're driving them insane, but it's also, you have the opportunity of maybe missing some actual valid deductions just because everything is commingled. If you're only using your business card for your business expenses, you know all those need to go somewhere and you're not missing anything. Okay, so let's say you have changed your ways and you are going to run out and set up a business bank account, a business credit card, and use it only for this other business. What do you do in your accounting to clean up all the past stuff? Let me show you. Okay, so I'm using an example here. We're going to pretend we've got business A and business B, and we're going to pretend that all of this stuff was spent on business B's credit card. Okay, the first thing we're going to do is we're going to download this from the bank or the financial institution that you got it from, and then we're just going to pop in, oh, this relates to business A, B, what, and you just go through and you identify them. So what this is telling you is these are all the transactions on B's card, but it does anything that says A actually relates to A. So A technically owes B $5,000, $5,600 for the use of this credit card. It's a loan to B. So what does this look like in the books? All I did is I added a couple of columns here, one for account and one for tax type, and then I shaded out the ones that related to B. So this is on book A's books. I went through and this goes to account 652. So if you're using account codes in your accounting system, you can see that this equals, let's say, office supplies, and this equals gifts, and this equals postage or whatever. You just include that account number going down. I would also include a tax type, and I'll show you why when we get to that part in Xero. So you basically just go through and you categorize things the way they need to be. We will actually ignore all of the B transactions for A's purposes. But at the end of the day, you'll see if you were to add up all of these transactions for A, it's going to equal $5,600. So in A's books, they've spent $5,600 for these various purposes, and we are actually recording those to the expense accounts or the asset account, like this is inventory. Those are going to go where they need to go, and we're going to completely ignore all the B transactions, okay? Okay, so here we are in Xero. I have set up this fake bank account called intercompany clearing. Now, this may not be technically, it would be an intercompany clearing account. Usually that has to do with like there's a parent company and a subsidiary. That's really what intercompany relates to. But I kind of call any time that we commingle stuff intercompany just because it's the same thing in theory. It makes sense to me. So we call this intercompany clearing. We set it up as a bank account just by going to bank accounts and add a new bank account. And then it's going to show up on your dashboard. And then what we're going to do is we're going to open this up and we're going to manually import a statement. Okay, so I copied this over, I cleaned it up a bit. Actually, we don't need this column either. You'll notice that the only transactions I have left here are the ones that relate to A, because again, we're using company B's accounts. We're not using A's accounts, so we don't need to include company B's accounts that they are legally responsible for on company A's books, but we do want all these transactions in there. So we've got this all cleaned up. All we have left is this stuff, tax type, account, and then the details of the transactions. And we're just going to download this as a CSV file. Now we're going to go over here and we are going to manually import this CSV file. We will click Browse and we will find that file and we will import it. The system will ask us to map the transactions. It's not totally sure what we want to do, and so we're going to make sure that the transaction date matches the transaction date. I'm going to actually change this to the payee. Transaction amount is correct, and then the account number is going to be account code, and the tax type is going to go to tax type. Now, the reason why, and actually you can look over here and you can see what it's going to look like in Xero when this comes through. So if you scroll through, you can see it's all going to come through. These are going to be debits, which is what you're looking for. And you don't want to import the first line because those are all headings. And that's really what we're looking for. The reason why you include the tax type is if you include the code and the tax type and this other information, it will automatically reconcile all these transactions for you. So you don't have to go in later and do all the okay, 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 okay. So we say okay, and you'll notice they're all just in here the way you wanted them to be. See? So pretty. All spent and everything. Yay. And the only one that's left is the supplier one because, because it's going to an asset account. So it's probably asking for more information. Okay, the inventory account actually didn't exist, wasn't set up. So I'm just using computer equipment just to speed things along. Okay, so now you have all these transactions in here. You can see they're all itemized, so you can see one by one what it was that this company spent the money on, so that's great. But you have this negative $5,600 sitting in this fake bank account that's on your dashboard, and you're like, what do I do with that? The whole concept of a clearing account is basically just an account that allows you to get information in here and manipulate it and make it easy for you without creating problems. And so this should always end up as zero once you've done doing whatever it is you want to do. So what we're going to do is we're going to create a received money transaction. We're going to have that come from business B. Actually, let me do it like this. We'll just do it today. It's fine. Usually I'll do these, like if somebody's commingling business and personal accounts, I'll do a whole month at a time. And then just at the end of each month, do this kind of transaction. So it's actually a loan from business B. And the total was, okay, and loan business B. Okay, so when we save that, you'll see that the balance ends up being zero. There's not a transaction here that we can reconcile against, so we're going to do it by hand. If you go up here, you'll see this either disable mark is reconciled or enable mark is reconciled. You want to make sure it says enable mark. Like if it says disable, then don't touch it because you already have this function down here. If it says enable, go ahead and click it. And then you're going to go down here, you're going to select the transaction you want and click mark as reconciled. And that's going to zero everything out and show that everything is reconciled. Yay! So you can see it's all clear, exactly the way you want it. If you look on the dashboard, it'll show you the same thing. And then if you look at the income statement, it'll show all the transactions that we just imported, should be included in these numbers. And if you go to the balance sheet, you will now see a loan on the books for $56.12. Yay! Okay, so that's exactly what we wanted to see. So that's what you would do on their set of books. For business B, it's going to be a little bit different. If you were to look at B's books, business B, this actually is their credit card, so they want to include all the transactions on their account, and anything that relates to B is going to be coded to the expense account that they want it to go to. So like this is for meals and entertainment. This one is too. These are blank because they are payments on the account, and I'll show you why about that in a second too. All of the other transactions, anything that relates to A goes to 180. That is a loan. Okay, so remember that we are using business B's credit card. So all of these transactions belong to business B. They should be automatically, if you've set up the bank feed for this credit card, they should already be flowing in and coming in. If not, or if you're using a funky credit card that doesn't hook up with Xero, I think those are rare, but I suppose it's possible. You can manually import them just like you did the other one. So in this case, I've cleaned everything up again. You'll notice I'm including both A and B in these transactions because, again, this is B's credit card. And I'm going to download this as a CSV file and import it into this account. So you'll see it's empty. I'm going to manually import the statement. Again, do the same thing. And when I import it, it'll pull everything in. So again, we'll go through, we'll make sure that these match. Again, this is going to go to the account code. This is going to go to tax type, and it will automatically import everything in, all reconciled and everything. Boom. All right, so the only things that are left are these ones that I had empty, like there was no account code for them. The reason I left them blank is because they are payments from the bank account. So we're actually just going to record that as a transfer that came from the checking account for both of those. And we're done. So you'll see this credit card has a balance. This balance is the total of everything that transpired, okay? It's fine if this isn't zero because the balance is whatever the balance is with the credit card company. Okay, makes sense? So all the transactions are in here. You'll see ins and outs. These were payments made on the credit card. Okay. Now you'll notice if you go to the balance sheet, you'll see the loan for business A is $56.12.37. So that's the exact same. And you'll notice that on their books, on business B's books, the loan is $56.12.37 as an asset. That's because business A owes business B this money, and so business B is just waiting for that money to come in. And then for the other company, it'll show up as a liability down here, and they are exactly the same amount. That's how you keep them in alignment. And it should always be that way. So I hope you found this helpful. If you did, please like, share, comment, and if you haven't already, please subscribe, and we'll catch you later.